Thank you for coming, everyone who is here. We have a bit of a turnout. And today is Dad's 28th Yahrzeit, which is on the Hebrew calendar, which is the 18th of Shvat. And I always thought it was very considerate of Dad in a certain sense, that he made it easy. And he made it easy for us in a certain sense. And he made it easy for me personally in that, we have a holiday called Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat, Dad used to like that was called Arba Day. Tu B'Shvat, two is really Tesvav, which is the way you say 15. Like the same way you would say the 4th of July is what is Tu B'Shvat. Shvat is a month. So it's the 15th of Shvat. And Dad's...
Excuse me, your picture went out.
My picture? Oh, Ira? Okay.
Heidi's picture went out.
Oh. Okay, so she'll come back. So you kind of get a heads up on the Tu B'Shvat holiday that Dad's Yahrzeit going to be in 3 days on the 18th. And 18th, as you know, Mother, is high. So it's always easy to remember, and this is and you're back, and that's the day we remember. So I wrote down some words, but I'm going to defer I'm going to defer my words for now and just kind of be the host. And I think, is Mother here? Mother here? So Ira, would you like to be the first to share some thoughts and memories?
Heidi, excuse me, it says low battery on mine.
I'm technical support here.
You need to plug in yourself. So Ira, if you just wait a quick moment so we can.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So just to pass it off to Ira, just one quick second. So it's basically considered that on the day of the Yahrzeit, the neshama can go higher by good deeds we do. Basically, it's the first year. Okay, Heidi's here. So basically, it's a good day. Her was actually going to visit, and it's so nice that we can do this. And so are we ready to hear words from Ira? Are we ready?
Okay. So I'll start out because I remember meeting Arthur Hoffman.
Can you make it louder? No.
The first time I met Arthur Hoffman, Francine invited him to come up to 286 4th Washington Avenue, and Nanny made dinner. And I remember this handsome young man coming up to the house. I think I was perhaps 12, Francine, so that would have been like 1950, 54, 53. Is that?
No, we were married in 53, so maybe it was 52.
52. So I would have been 11. I would have been 11. So I remember Nanny wanted me to put on a very clean new shirt for Arthur coming to the house, and we had a corner apartment, and he drove up. He had a car. He had a Chevy. I think it was a green Chevy convertible.
Yeah, he had painted it green because it used to be yellow from Florida, right?
Right. So I feel, this is really one cool guy. And to add to the quality of this man, he showed up and he had some flowers for Nanny. He brought flowers for Nanny. Nanny had made dinner. I think they were really kind of lousy little flowers, but it was very, very sweet thing to do. Maybe they were daffodils or something, or like that. But he was very nervous in meeting the family, and you can tell Francine just sat through the entire evening, kind of googly-eyed, looking at him, and just waiting for what he would say. That he would say all the right things with the family. Well, anyway, so as a young man, he was really like an older brother, if you will, and he kind of took me under his wing, etc. So when I was a little older, he gave me a job at Stern Hoffman and Company. I was a young teenager, and I'd put on a suit, and I'd go down to 4 Albany Street and work at the firm. And I remember the partners, Herb, it was Herbert Dobular, Dick Stern, and Vicky Laveau. Vicky Laveau was.
Oh,
You remember those names, Francine?
I remember Vicky, yeah. I remember the name.
Yeah. So it was very interesting. I learned a great deal, frankly, about people's personalities and dealing with people in a business world through Arthur. And I mean, I was given a fair amount of responsibility as a very young man. I remember he would come in off the floor of the exchange because he was a $2 broker. So he'd execute orders for other firms, and he'd have loose slips of paper. And I would take those loose slips of paper and make put them in an orderly fashion and send out bills to the other firm. And in those days, we just we hand wrote the bills on pencils and sheets of billing paper like you would get at a dry cleaning shop, just very basic stuff. Anyway, so my times with Arthur were, you know, we went out to dinner with some of his friends, and I remember going out with Babbitts and going out with Sidney Hollander, and right, Francine, going out to the old Homestead. It was a very famous place down in the Meat District. Now it's a very trendy place to live now, but we would go down there, and I remember we went out with one of Arthur's. I mean, we had the full dinner. We had a shrimp cocktail, onion soup, a steak, baked potatoes, and cheesecake.
Yes, the soup du jour.
The soup, right? So I remember going out with Arthur, and he loved to eat. But his friend must have been like 300 pounds, and maybe he was 5'10". He was not a very 5'7". He was not a very tall guy. But I remember we completed the dinner, and I was stuffed, and we're ready to go. And he called the waiter over. His friend called the waiter. I think it was Sidney Hollander.
Sidney Hollander, right?
Do it again. So we thought,
Yeah.
well, you want another piece? He said, no, another piece of cheesecake. No. So we sat there while he had a shrimp cocktail, onion soup, steak, baked potato, and cheesecake again. So my eyes opened up. But Arthur was very generous and very thoughtful for me.
And he was in the army, and he missed your bar mitzvah.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. He was in service. Right.
I remember getting my first car. Kids have cars at much earlier ages, but I was like 21, and I was heading off to Navy Supply Corps School in Athens, Georgia, and I needed a car. And Arthur had a Mercedes at that time, and we drove out to a used car dealership, and I ended up buying a Plymouth Valiant. I think I paid $1,200 for the car, but I wanted to be sure that I didn't want to pull up to the used car lot with with somebody driving a Mercedes Benz. So we parked a few hundred yards away behind a traffic sign, and we walked up to the dealership, and the first thing the salesman said, you know, we have free parking here on the lot. You didn't have to park. You didn't have to park all the way over there, boys. You can park for free right here if you want to go back and get your car. That was kind of, so Arthur and I, we had a lot of funny stories, and I remember dating some gals.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And
Oh, look who they are.
Herb is here.
Hi.
Herb's up in Westchester. Oh, and there's Adam. Oh, wow. Hi, Susan.
Oh, my goodness.
As
This
her,
is
The
incredible.
Eskimos.
Coming from all over the world.
the boys are in the frozen.
Oh, hi, Josh.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Hey
everybody.
guys.
Wow.
So
That's great. That's great.
That was good
Ira was just
reminiscing.
talking about his experiences with Dad on Wall Street, and I don't know if you hear me, Herb.
We can hear you.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah,
Ira was just speaking about when Dad first came up to Washington Heights and his experiences on Wall Street. So, so I guess Ira, since they're set out in the cold, maybe we can let Herb talk a little bit now because they're out in the cold outside there.
yeah,
So we're
Okay,
we're at the
yeah.
cemetery, and this is
Oh,
where
no, yeah.
this is where Papa is. Charles Moskowitz,
Okay.
1895. Nanny
More
right
or
next
less.
door.
We had to brush off the snow.
We had to brush off the ice. There's ice on these.
Right.
It's a lot of snow up here.
Oh,
many-
my goodness.
And here's Dad.
spots do you have up there, Herb?
There's not much snow. It's very icy though.
I'm just talking about how much empty spots do you have up there for
Oh,
future?
we got room for. I think we got room for 7 more.
Yeah, we've got parking for 10.
We have room for.
Yeah, 5 and
So
we
they-
have
they,
Rose's 5 and 5.
So there's actually a lot of mausoleums now that there weren't before,
Really?
and they're huge, and they're like hotels, and
Ah.
it's really just unbelievable. I'll move the camera around.
Now,
Down
where
the hill-
is that up on,
down the
Herb,
hill.
is that
I
up
don't know
on the hill where the Tish was?
I don't know if you can see this,
Yeah.
but down that hill, it looks like I can't even describe it.
It's like a synagogue.
It's like a temple.
Is that Tish?
No, that's Cohen. It's
Oh,
somebody Cohen. So yeah, so we're
Like a
here.
nice place.
It's Dad's yard site, and it's been a long time, and my beard is very white now,
yeah, very distinguished.
and it's just nice to be here. It's nice to be here. It's nice to be with the family while
Nice
we're
to see
here.
you.
Very nice that you're there, Herb. I really appreciate it.
I have a
Wish could be
a
there.
little poem that I wrote when Daddy was 50. Can I read that now?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it ends as, because it was his birthday. Can I read it now?
Yes,
Yes.
please, Mother. Please.
All right. This is Arthur Hoffman at 50, May 25th, 1975. I set out to seek my fortune when I was but a lass, to find a perfect husband who was tall and thin and fast. I was looking for a fellow who could dance the latest craze, who could sing like Frank Sinatra and play ball like Willie Mays, who could fly a plane like Lindbergh and would soar me to the stars, who would wrap me all in ermine and buy expensive cars. But I found an Arthur Hoffman who was some of the above. All he did was bring me laughter. All he did was bring me love. And so, dear friends and family, as we wine and dine and toast, let us know what we are seeking and what we treasure most. And this was Daddy's birthday. So a very happy birthday to the hero of my life. Good health, good friends, much happiness from your ever-loving wife.
Isn't that lovely?
Very
Very
nice.
nice. Very nice.
Bravo.
That was when
Bravo.
it's at 50.
Okay. Well,
Heidi, you got something to say?
since you're going, would you like to add anything else about his personality characteristics or anything, Mother? Anything to say about, on this day? Or- since it-
Yeah, he was always losing things. He was always tapping his way, like where the keys are. All right, you can come. I'll have to think about it. So Heidi can say something if she.
Okay, Heidi, are you ready?
Well, Ronald, you're facilitating. Was I next, or
Well, we're just kind of going with the flow, so that'd be
All
great.
right.
That'd be great if you'd like to go.
yeah?
Now, you
I
have to
mean,
think that Herb's
yes.
outside in the cold. That's the only thing. Is that okay?
You know
Heidi,
what? It's
take the
cold.
mask
It's
off.
cold
We're
out.
in a
It's
different
cold
room.
out here. It's cold
Yeah.
out here. So let me have. I'm going to say a couple things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then,
go,
yeah.
Herb.
let the boys, and maybe Susan, whoever wants to speak, can say a
Yeah.
couple things. So, I feel like I'm with my dad every day since 1993, and even though I haven't been here in a while, He's with me all the time, and miss him. I miss him very much, and I wish he was here to see my family grow up to the fine young gentlemen, the fine young gentlemen with beards that they are,
Right.
and my lovely wife, and it's just nice to be. It's nice actually to be here, kind of with everybody from Florida and Boston and Vienna, and I do feel like we're all together, and that's it. That's it for now. That's it for now. So Heidi, you're up. Oh no.
Does Susan want to say something?
Yeah, let's do the outdoor
Yeah.
containers first.
Sure. So from stories and fond memories and beautiful tales that everyone shares all the time, I feel personally that I understand kind of where our family comes from, our strong bond, our kind of quirky personalities from all the people that are lying here and are on the call today. And kind of, I feel that even stronger today. And, you know, it's been difficult times in the last year, but I feel like even through the last difficult year, like our relationship has grown stronger, even though we have been separated. And now being here is very meaningful around just like names that I see and kind of, you know, it brings it full circle. It makes me feel whole, but at the same time still separated, but safe and happy, and soon to be together again to share more stories. So that's how I feel.
Thank you very much.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, looking good.
Not so much, but I appreciate that. No, I got him. Yeah, it's nice to be here. Nice to see everybody on Zoom and everybody here. And like my dad said, it's like everyone's still here. You know, I had the honor and pleasure to to meet Papa, even though I was very young, and Annie obviously, and Grandpa Arthur, and we have pictures in the house of me with everybody, and it's just like my dad said, everybody's with us every day, and we see the pictures in the house, and we know that they're with us, and it's good to see these names and to remember the memories, and those memories will always be with us.
Hello, everybody.
Oh,
So I'm looking at Josh right now, and I see that he has gray hair. And I cannot believe that on the way here, we remembered where Ronald had broken down. And it feels like yesterday, and it feels like such a long time ago that we lost members of our families, some of us more recently than others. And it's just nice to have the rest of the family here and know we're all together supporting one another and all together missing the ones that we love.
Right, but always in our hearts. I have to tell you, I love that picture that you have of when we were together on my birthday a year ago. I was looking at, I'm holding the birthday cake, Susan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have all kinds of albums that I remember you were holding. I remember we always got together, Susan, when it was Father's Day and Mother's Day, and I have a picture of you holding a Father's Day cake, and it says Arthur and Jordan. Remember that? I have all kinds of albums.
Oh, they're very sad. Very long ago.
Thanks so much, Hoffman's in Westchester. It was beautiful.
Okay, we're gonna get in the car and we'll continue on with you.
Okay, that's
Okay.
great. That's great. So at this point, let me see. Larry, do you want to say something, Larry? I'm not.
Larry, you're muted.
I
Typical
wanted Heidi to
Zoom.
say something. I'm sure she has a memory to share.
Me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't prepare any remarks or anything, but really, like, a lot of what's already been said really resonates with me very much. You know, Susan's comment about, you know, the past at the same time feeling like just yesterday, and at the same time, you know, a million years ago is definitely something I relate to very much. You know, the idea that Dad is always with me is definitely something that I relate to very much. I just feel like I feel his presence, like literally, like in my chest, like in my heart, because I really do miss him. And I mean, this idea that he was just here and that it's been a really long time. I mean, you know, there has been a really, really, really significant chapter in my life that he has not been here to witness. You know, quite obviously, you know, my marriage to Larry, and, you know, Ava's birth and existence, and the family that we've created, and the life that we've created in Boston. It's a strange thing to feel like he hasn't, that it's a strange thing to feel like he's with me, but that he, you know, didn't get to meet them. And I have to say, Ronald, this is what you've done today by bringing us together, and, you know, people in Florida in warm weather, and Herb and family in the snow at the cemetery, and you in Vienna, and us here in Boston. It's really a beautiful thing. And I really just want to thank you for taking the initiative to line this up, because it's really very beautiful. And you know, I'll just mention that, you know, our family is, you know, very much connected, you know, despite the physical distance and the social distancing that we're all needing to do right now. But you know, we can look forward to, among other things, March 11th, 2023, which is a date that we were just given yesterday, and I'll email you guys about that. So save the date for a future Simcha, and hopefully we don't have to wait until 2023 for more family Simchas. But that's one weekend that I'm very much hoping that we can all be together in person without masks and without being distanced. So a nice thing to look forward to.
Good. Okay, Susie, would you like to say something?
Sure. That was Francine and I remember sitting by the fireplace on Bull Sawmill Road in 1993. It was actually December 31st. And it had been a horrific year, actually, because Arthur had passed away, and then my mother passed away. But thank God they also gave us so much that in spite of our sadness, we still could laugh. And I remember looking at you, Francine, and we shook our heads and threw up our hands and went, well, thank God it's going to be 1994.
I remember your mother passed away shortly after Arthur, right?
Well, in December 27th. I mean, it had just happened.
Right. I remember we all came to the services.
Yeah. And but what I tend to remember with Arthur, and I was so happy that I did get to share some time with him, not a long time, was just how incredibly warm he was. From the moment I met him, I felt like I met someone who was like part of my family from a long time ago. He was so familiar, even though we hadn't known each other long. And I really quickly fell in love with him because he was all those wonderful things we all know. And he also, I remember being in New York, and we were there for Thanksgiving, and he was all excited because he bought Steffi a doll.
Oh.
It was this old, like an old Jewish woman
Oh,
doll.
yeah, it's scary.
And it was almost like, it was Steffi's size. And remember, he brought it out of the back room, and Steffi like started crying. She was terrified.
Yes, she stopped that in her tracks.
Oh yeah, she almost couldn't talk. It was really.
Susie, I was there for that, and I remember that, and it actually, you know who that was? That it was the Where's the Beef lady.
Oh, that's right.
It was the lady from the Wendy's Where's the Beef commercial, and she was holding like a big bun and a teeny tiny burger in it, and I remember that so clearly. Steffi was like skipping around, and then she got one look at the doll, and she like froze.
Yeah, froze in her
backing
tracks. I
away.
remember that.
But yeah, it was the Where's the Beef lady. I don't know where Dad got that doll,
That
but
was
yeah.
You still
I
have it?
remember one story very briefly. Arthur and Harold, before we were married, they were invited. They had a lot of family out in Brooklyn, Judge Barr and a lot of big shots. And they were invited to go out to Brooklyn for dinner. And Arthur and Harold forgot, and they went, for a big dinner in the neighborhood. And then the phone rang, and the aunt said, Harold, dear, we're waiting for dinner for you. So Harold said to Arthur, you tell her. And Arthur said, no, you tell her, you tell her. They couldn't imagine going out for dinner. So they decided, well, they're going to pull in their stomach and they're going to go out to Brooklyn and have a second meal. They drove all the way out to Brooklyn and they sat down and Arthur said, we took a deep breath. And we sat down and had a second meal. But the funny conversation was Harold said, you tell her that, and you tell her, no, they went out and had a second meal out in Brooklyn.
I thought that was Thanksgiving. Wasn't that a Thanksgiving dinner? No.
I don't remember, but I remember it was a second meal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm gonna maybe add a couple of short words that I thought about. If I may, Susie, are you finished, Susie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I just wanted to add a little short biographical things that many of us may or may not know. Like some people knew Dad a little less than other people. Dad was actually born in the 20s, which I thought was interesting in itself. Dad was born in May of 29, so it was really a great time, as you Wall Street people know. And it wouldn't be so good for that long. So I guess he was maybe 6 months old or so when the whole economy world changed. And he only knew one president until he was like 16 years old. So like for him, it was FDR. I imagine he came from a right-wing family. I think that someone in the family once said that his grandparents said, that man's gonna ruin this country. I'm sure Ira knows what I mean. That FDR with his left way, his democratic helping programs, that the people that he would, but Dad was very much, he felt good about that. And before he graduated from high school, he lost within maybe 2 years both his parents and his grandmother. So he was pretty much kind of, when he graduated from Horace Mann, he was, had no parents, which I always was sad for that. And he was pretty much by himself. I mean, he had his brother, but Horace Mann was really kind of his home and his family. And he carried his friends his whole life long. I remember, when I was growing up in the 80s, and he would have the old boys club, and they would get together. Like, it was before, Facebook, and before we were able to easily re-establish the old boys club. But I want to just call to mind one event when I was actually in high school that I just wanted to share. I thought it really epitomized the beauty and the sensitivity and the dignity of my father. We grew up, he graduated from Horace Mann in 1947. It was a very celebrated class, many famous people, and he was a part of that. And then Herb, we went to Barnard, and Herb was able to get over to Horace Mann. He graduated from Horace Mann, and I started at Horace Mann. And then I kind of let Dad down because I didn't do my homework. I was enjoying the fun of Horace Mann. And I ended up finishing high school. I ended up going into Manhattan. They decided Horace Mann wasn't the right place for me. So I was there 1 year. And in 8th grade, I went down to New York City, and I went to McBurney, which interestingly was where Ira had graduated from. So I kind of covered both. So I was a pretty good athlete, and I was playing basketball, and the football coach saw me play basketball, and they said, we want this guy on the football team. So I ended up playing football on the McBurney football team. And lo and behold, in the year that I played football, we played a game at Horace Mann.
I remember that.
We played a game at Horace Mann. So my team, so here I am on McBurney playing a game at Horace Mann, which is like my father's family. And Dad was always on the side of Horace Mann. I never really thought about it, but lo and behold, Dad is standing on the side of the field of the visitors team.
Yeah.
So
You didn't know what side of the field to go
white
on.
is the Horace Mann next to Tillinghast Hall over there by the Tillinghast Hall side. And on the other side with nothing is the visitors side. And I really thought that it was like, look what I did to my father. You know, I not only did I get kicked out of his school, I'll say it straight, but here I am coming back to play against his school. And instead of standing on the side of his family and everything, he's standing on my side, supporting me and being with me against Horace Mann. And I thought to myself, he can't lose, because if McBurney wins, then I won, and so Dad's the winner. And if Horace Mann wins, then Horace Mann wins. And as it turned out, I was able to at least give him that we lost that game, and Horace Mann won the game. And at least I was able to give him that day. But it just epitomized to me his sensitivity and his dedication to me. He was always my best friend, no matter what I put him through. And he wasn't able to see some of the things that I did and stuff. But I just really appreciate my dad, and I appreciate all of you for coming here today. And we appreciate him because he was kind of like our patriarch, and we go on. And I just wanted to thank everybody for coming to be as part of this special Yahrzeit day. And also one final last thing. He was always very considerate, and that he made his Yahrzeit be on the off week, that there's no game this week.
Right.
The Super Bowl is next week. So he was always considerate in everything he did. So that's what I have to say. And so,
if I could add something, I think this is a wonderful, sweet moment, and it's a blessing to have the family together like this. And it would be terrific if we could have a family call. I don't know how often you do it, whether you do it.
We've done it.
Well, I mean, as Susie said, we've done it. I don't remember. But I mean, whether we do it over a dinner or something where we could, whether it's once a quarter, once every 6 months or something, to catch up where people could give a few minutes on what's going on in their lives, so we don't lose track of each other. So we keep these emotional bonds, and we can talk more about current situations and the future, and talk about the sweetness of the past as well. But Ronald did such a good job in coordinating this. I think it's terrific that you did that. And if everybody's in favor of that, I'd love to do something.
I'll send out an email I did to everybody this time. Everybody got it, and we can have some suggestions. Maybe a quarter would be great. A Sunday, that makes sense. Maybe around somebody's birthday or something. Anybody want to add anything else? I think it was very successful. Thank you for coming, Larry.
Well, I just wanted to say that obviously I never got to meet Arthur. And I think the more I hear over the years, I think he probably was a lot like my dad. Generous, funny, committed, dedicated to his family. And in the same way, in my family, my dad's been gone, for almost 20 years. His presence looms in the moment for everybody in the family. And one of the things that I'm reminded of when we have to think about people we've lost is it reminds me how long our lives are, and that we will move through this particular difficult moment, because there's a long thread that runs through your family, and now I'm part of the family. And it reminds me that there's more beyond this awful moment that we're in particular, and that when we come together to remember someone we've lost, it just makes me realize that, yeah, we're going to get beyond this and we'll be together again. And so in some ways, I appreciate the fact that we can think about Arthur, because it shows that long tie that we all have, and that continues. And that's helpful. It's a gift in a way when, every day seems very limited and there's a lot of challenge. So we will Zoom together again, and we will get together in 2023 for the Simca.
Hopefully before that.
Yeah, hopefully before that too.
Of course.
Byron had his second dose. Woo!
Yeah.
All right.
I get my second one February 18th.
Right.
Oh, very good.
Just
And
FYI.
Susan gets her first on February 22nd. So we're all waiting to get vaccines.
February 18th, Libby Miller turns 30.
Wow.
What I was gonna say something, regarding us, getting together virtually. We have a lot of big birthdays this year coming up. 30, and I remember when this does happen kind of every 5 years. We have 30, we have 65, we have 80, and we have 90.
Oy.
And so I think that certainly birthday celebrations are something that the family can really celebrate. And it doesn't look like April will get together in Florida for Ira's big day. But certainly let's set up virtual birthdays during the course of the year. I think that would be really great.
Yes,
And Ronald,
and
we do want to thank you for setting this up. I think this was really special, and I'm glad I was able to get to the cemetery where I haven't been in quite a while, and get you to participate with us there. I think was really, really great. So thank you very much.
right. And you see certain characteristics, that generations go on, but you see certain looks, so we'll just keep going on and on as much as we can, and love everybody. And it's just joy to see everybody looking so good.
And
How do you
before
like my hair? Salt and pepper.
looking good. Mom, before we close, I actually just want to ask, we've had this square in our Zoom here that says Melissa and Morton and Gloria. I'm assuming that you are there with us, perhaps listening. And I don't know if you're able to unmute, and if you might want to say some words, but in any case, please know that we're so glad that you were with us. You were, it goes without saying how important and special you were to my dad, and how important and special you are to us. And again, I don't know if you're hearing my words, but it means a lot to us that you're here, that you, Gloria, you and I spoke earlier, and I know it was a big effort to just try to set up this Zoom to be with us. So thank you so much for doing that. And again, we've talked a lot about, past good. Oh, there you are. Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
there you are. There you are.
Hi, there we are.
Unmute? Are you able to unmute? Because we can't hear you. We can see you, and it's wonderful to see you. But if you're able to unmute, we'd love to hear anything you might want to say.
Can you hear us now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, we were here from the beginning.
Okay.
See Morton? You see Morton?
Tilt your
Yes.
screen down a
Right.
little
Hi,
bit.
Morton, Gloria.
Tilt your
Nice to
screen
see you.
downwards a little bit. Angle it a little bit down if you can. We see the top of your
Top
heads.
of your head, Morton.
I think they have a desktop, Ronald.
Okay.
Can you see us
Hello,
now?
Morton.
Yes, we can.
Okay, okay.
Morton, would you like
Morton,
to
say a few
share some
things?
words with us, Morton?
I can only say that Arthur Hoffman was always my best friend. I loved him. We had marvelous, marvelous times together. If we had a little more time, I would tell you some very funny stories. Unfortunately, I want to keep all of your friendship, so I'm not going to tell too many stories. Arthur and I got together when we started college, and we're still together today. And I mean that, still together today. There was never a better friend, a better guy, a nicer family. Even when my father and mother were in New York and were going to Europe, and it was cold. So my father just knocked on Arthur and Francine's door and said, "I need a coat. We're going to Europe." And they gave him one, and that's what happened. Anyway, I couldn't sincerely be associated with a better family, nicer people in my whole life. And Herbie and I are friendly, very friendly. And when I talk to him, I remind him of my relationship with his father and how good it was. And same with Ronald, and same with the daughter, Heidi. I treasure the moments that we were together. I really mean that. And I'm 90 and I'm on my way out, but I have a very warm feeling for every one of you in the Hoffman family. I just can't describe to you my feeling for Arthur Hoffman and the people around him, all of his family. I'm familiar with the Sydney Hollander dinner one more time, soup and nuts. And that really did happen among us.
For those who don't know, Sydney Hollander was a very healthy, well-fed person. And Dad had to go out to dinner with him because Dad felt that he didn't.
I remember you couldn't come to our wedding because you were in the Army. And I have a telegram, and you wrote sorry you couldn't be there. So when Arthur walks the last mile.
Well, all I can say sincerely is that he left great memories for all of us. He was a special man, and for myself, my wife, and my mother and father both knew him. And he was like a member of our family, really, in more ways than one.
Well, Uncle Morton, I just want to share with you a memory and an unbelievable depth of gratitude that our family feels for your mother in particular, who you may remember was in the company of my father when he suffered his first heart attack. And it was with unbelievable gratitude to her that she recognized very quickly what was happening, and she called 911. Right. And he had been down there visiting with you.
Right.
And I really believe that it was because of her her knowledge and her fast action in that moment that we had the gift of 7 more years with my dad, which we we came very close to not having those final 7 years. And that's, again, with great gratitude to your mother, who, again, was just very wise and acted very swiftly in a time of real crisis. So we remember your mom with great love and great appreciation. I never had the opportunity to meet your dad, but I've heard stories about him as well. And
There are a lot of stories.
yeah.
Anyway, I want to thank the family for inviting my wife and I to be part of this. It's very important. As far as I'm concerned, we are really one family. And I mean that. We are one family. And we share a lot of wonderful times together.
Morton, I remember you said to Arthur, did Arthur ever tell me what happened behind the monument when you were in college?
On that note, Gloria, do you have any
Something happened
anecdotes?
behind the monument when they were in college. I never knew.
Francine, do you remember the trip to Jamaica?
Right. Yeah.
You remember that? And the car broke down.
Take care of the boys.
And Arthur,
Take care of
get
the
me out of
boys.
here. Get me out of here. And oh, that was a wild time.
Right. The natives put nails in the road so
Right.
they'd get a flat tire.
The natives.
Yeah. They had nails in the road and they had a flat tire and Morton jumped in the car and said, "Doctor, take care of the boys."
Okay, so I'm being escorted out because I have a limited window that I'm allowed to visit.
Oh, that was a great trip.
Need to come visit
A
their
wonderful trip.
So I need to excuse myself, but that doesn't mean anyone else needs to go. But again, Ronald, a special thank you to you for initiating this. This has been a really, really precious time for us to be together.
Absolutely.
And you know, sending lots of love to you from Boston. And just the last thing I'll say is, we've talked a bit about upcoming Simchas, lots of special birthdays this year, 2023, which is really far away, probably won't be. But if things resolve a bit more with this pandemic, we would love to see any and all of you in Boston in October. So consider yourselves all invited. And we'll just have to see how things unfold with the pandemic. But wash your hands and social distance and wear your mask and stay safe. And we love you. And I've got to jump. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Let everybody stay well.
It was wonderful to
Love
visit.
to all.
Okay.
All right, Gloria, would you like to say anything since you're here?
Well, I'm glad that we came in because we did watch from the beginning. I also have wonderful memories of Arthur, both when we were in New York and down here in Florida. Great guy, just wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful memories.
All right,
And Ronald, thank you for putting us back on.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you're here. It's you bring us back to University of Miami and all the wonderful times we've had in Miami Beach. So many wonderful times I personally had with your mother, Morton, up on the one floor up.
They can wait a few.
811. We were 811, and she must have been the 9th floor. And I just can't.
9/11.
Times we had it. So many. Love your mother, Morton.
Okay, thank you. Everybody stay well, and we'll do this soon again.
Bye.
Okay, I'm gonna wish you all a wonderful Sunday, and next week Morton has his high holiday, so I'm sure I'll be calling you then.
Good.
Whoa.
We're
1 week
looking
from today. You
forward
see how
to it.
considerate he was? He did this on the off week. He was always thoughtful.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day, everybody.
Thanks for putting this.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.